North Korea. You know, it's one of the most secretive nations on Earth. But what is life actually like for the people inside? Well, using accounts from people who've managed to escape, we're going to break down the systems of control that shape every single moment of a person's life, from the thoughts they're allowed to have to the haircut they're allowed to get.
Just let that sink in for a second. This one sentence really gets to the core of the entire system. You see, control here isn't just about stopping you from doing something. It's about stopping you from even thinking about doing it. And that's only possible through this intense culture of surveillance, where pretty much anyone, your neighbors, your coworkers, even your own family, could be an informant for the state. So, how does this level of control actually work in practice? Let's start by looking at some basic choices that most of us just take for granted, but are completely non-existent for North Koreans.
So get this, North Korea has elections, but they're nothing like what you'd expect. It's not about choosing a leader at all. It's basically a mandatory loyalty test. There's only one name on the ballot, and if you don't show up to cast your vote for that person, it's considered an act of treason. This one number says it all. 1. That's how many state-run TV channels there are. Every single television is physically locked to this single frequency. The goal is pretty simple. Make sure all information is a one-way street, flowing directly from the state with absolutely zero outside interference.
So the big question is, how did this even happen? How did an entire nation get so completely cut off from the rest of the world? To really understand the present, we've got to rewind and look at the key moments that created its foundation.
Okay, so after World War II, the Korean peninsula was basically split in two. The Soviet Union propped up Kim Il-sung in the north, which started a ruling dynasty that's still in power today. Then the devastating Korean War locked that division in place. And here's the wild part. No peace treaty was ever actually signed, so technically, the two Koreas are still at war.
And that historical division, that state of being still at war, well, that's the justification for the total control we see today. So let's dive into how that control shapes daily life, starting with the first line of defense, controlling information.
This slide shows the information divide perfectly. For most of us, the internet is this massive global network. But for North Koreans, there's only a closed national version called Kwangmyong. It's basically a digital wall where every single click and every message is watched by the state. It's not a window to the world, it's a room with no windows at all.
And this ban on outside information is absolute. I mean, watching a South Korean TV show or listening to foreign pop music isn't just illegal. The state calls it ideological contamination, like a poison for your mind, and it can land you in a brutal labor camp. The state has to be the only voice its people ever hear.
This control isn't just about what you think or see, it's physical too. The state dictates your personal appearance to an unbelievable degree. It's all about forcing conformity and rejecting any tiny hint of influence from the outside world. Yeah, everyday items are banned just because of what they represent. Blue jeans? Nope. They symbolize American culture. There's even a state-approved list of hairstyles you can choose from. Every single one of these rules is there to scrub away any foreign influence and enforce one and only one state-approved identity.
Freedom of movement? That doesn't exist either. You can't just decide to visit family or friends in another town. To go anywhere outside your local area, you have to apply for, and be granted, an official travel permit from the government.
So, with all these rules, there's a huge question. How does the regime actually enforce them? What is this architecture of fear that maintains such an iron grip on 26 million people?
This is arguably the single most terrifying tool of control they have, the 3 generations of punishment rule. If you're found guilty of a political crime, it's not just you who goes to a prison camp. It's your children, and your grandchildren too. It's a policy specifically designed to make the price of defiance so impossibly high that it wipes out the very thought of it.
But the fear isn't just about punishment. It's woven right into the fabric of society from the moment you're born. It's done through a hereditary caste system called songbun, where your entire life is literally determined by your ancestors' loyalty to the regime.
This chart breaks down how your fate is sealed at birth. Your family's actions, way back during the Korean War, place you into one of 3 classes. If your grandfather was a war hero, you're in the core class. You get the best jobs, better food, and the biggest prize of all, you get to live in the capital, Pyongyang. But if your ancestor was a landowner or had family who fled to South Korea, you're branded as hostile for life. You're sent to the countryside to do the absolute worst jobs, with zero hope of ever improving your life. Your songbun is everything.
And this social order is hammered home through constant mandatory rituals. There are weekly self-criticism sessions where you have to stand up and publicly confess your ideological failings. You have to memorize texts. You even have to perform these public displays of grief on the anniversaries of past leaders' deaths. It's all about performing your loyalty, constantly and in public.
And as a final powerful symbol of just how isolated this place is, North Korea literally operates on its own time. The Juche calendar doesn't start at year 1. It starts in 1912, the year the nation's founder, Kim Il-sung, was born. It's this constant, daily reminder that the nation's history and its entire reality is separate from the rest of the planet.
Which brings us to this final question. When a state controls what you see, what you wear, and even who your family was, what's left of you? In a system that's designed to completely erase individuality, who are you?